How do you explain her?
Kobe Bryant with a ponytail. Seriously, like apex predator, great basketball player who wants to steal your soul.
Every building she goes into is a different energy.
For years, Caitlin Clark was talked about as a once-in-a-generation talent. Then, almost overnight, she became the undeniable face of the league. Now, what she's building goes far beyond any simple label and is getting harder to fully put into words. Clark's influence isn't just changing the WNBA. It's reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball, and many people are still trying to understand what they're witnessing in real time. Early on, the conversation was easy to define. Record-breaking scoring, jaw-dropping performances, and statistical feats that once felt almost impossible in the women's game.
Clark, how will she go for history? There it is! The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
Glue of the team, the mother hen as they've called her. Caitlin Clark hits the three-pointer, and Clark makes history once again. No one in the history of the sport has hit more threes in a season than Clark has this year.
And with that, beats none other than Steph Curry, arguably the greatest shooter of all time in the men's or women's.
Those milestones mattered, but they only told part of the story. At a certain point, Caitlin Clark stopped being evaluated solely by what she did on the court and began being measured by how the world around her responded. Attention followed her everywhere. Conversations shifted in her direction, and entire schedules, broadcasts, and storylines started bending around her presence. The change was subtle, but its impact was massive. This was the moment a player moved from being merely exceptional to becoming structurally essential. It didn't happen on a highlight reel or with a last-second shot. It happened quietly. Behind the scenes, road arenas began selling out as soon as Clark was on the schedule. Television coverage depended on her availability, and media attention spilled far beyond basketball, reaching into broader sports and cultural discussions. These aren't normal reactions to talent alone. They're signs of system realigning itself around a single figure. And once that shift begins, there's no going back.
Is not only growing women's basketball, she's growing Iowa's economy.
Yeah, a nonpartisan research group estimates she helped bring in more than $52 million.
Nike doesn't attach itself to fleeting moments. It backs movements with the power to define entire eras. History shows a clear pattern. Patience first, expansion later. With Caitlin Clark, Nike didn't just see a sharpshooter or a viral sensation. They recognized someone capable of uniting multiple audiences at once. Men's basketball fans, women's basketball fans, casual viewers, and even people who rarely watch the sport, all focus in the same direction. That kind of convergence is rare. And when it happens, brands think long-term, not season by season. Most athletes are treated as endpoints. You watch the highlights, celebrate the achievements, and eventually the spotlight moves on. Platforms work differently. They generate momentum not just for the central figure, but for everyone connected to them. They amplify teammates, spark conversations, and shift attention in ways that outlast individual performances. Caitlin Clark is stepping into that role. Her influence doesn't just draw eyes to her game. It elevates those around her and reshapes how the sport itself is discussed.
Just as much joy throwing a really good pass to my teammates as I do making a logo three. And I think that at times can make us a lot harder to guard, and even myself harder to guard, because sure, you can take away my shots and stuff, but I'm going to find a way to get my teammates open.
When you watch the players who share the court with Caitlin Clark, a clear pattern emerges. Their visibility increases. Their performances carry more context and weight, and their names circulate far more widely than they would on their own. This isn't because they suddenly became better players. It's because the spotlight around them expanded. True stars don't hoard attention. They distribute it. And that widening focus is one of the clearest signs that a player's influence has grown far beyond just their own game.
His focus is just like going out there and playing basketball and having so much fun, but I would be lying if I didn't say, like, I do realize everything that's happening.
This is where the dynamic can start to feel unsettling for some. When one player commands an outsized share of attention, everything else begins to be measured against her. Games are framed by whether she's on the court, ratings are discussed in relation to her presence, and momentum is tracked through her availability. That doesn't mean the league lacks talent or depth. It means the WNBA hasn't encountered this level of gravitational pull before. Systems tend to stumble when something new stretches their existing framework. The WNBA may be the arena, but it isn't the boundary. Caitlin Clark's appeal extends far beyond traditional lines, pulling in NBA fans, NFL audiences, and casual sports viewers who may never have followed women's basketball. Her influence reaches cultural spaces that are usually off limits to athletes. And that kind of crossover doesn't stop at league borders. Once an athlete becomes a shared point of reference across multiple audiences, their impact scales in a way that's permanent.
I see it now. Like, you know,
right.
Like when you walk in and you don't even know who anybody is, and they just be
Yeah.
like, yo, that's the best player in the country right there. It's just like, yo, that hits you out of nowhere. Like, let me really focus in on.
Timing is often the unseen force behind the biggest shifts in sports. And women's basketball is in a moment unlike any before. Audiences are larger, infrastructure is stronger, and conversations around the game are more open than ever. Caitlin Clark arrived at exactly the point when the sport was ready to expand in scale, not just in size. That alignment of elite talent and perfect timing is rare, and when it happens, it accelerates everything around it. One of the most overlooked aspects of Clark's rise is her pace. She doesn't move like someone chasing every opportunity at once. Her appearances are deliberate, her partnerships carefully selected, and her messaging tightly controlled. That restraint isn't hesitation. It's strategic intention. Building something lasting requires patience. Right now, the most valuable thing Clark is accumulating isn't money or awards, but leverage. Leverage gives her control over timing, platforms, and direction, shaping how conversations unfold and who leads them. She's building it quietly, without forcing the moment, which is why her influence feels fundamentally different from ordinary star power. Her story isn't just about her success. It's about what she represents for the next generation. When young athletes see a women's basketball player with global reach, long-term brand strategy, and cultural influence beyond the court, the ceiling of possibility shifts for the entire sport. Fame is loud, fast, and fleeting. Influence is quieter, but it compounds. And Caitlin Clark is steadily moving into that second category.
Coming into the game. Logo! Clark with a deep three. Three that you've been waiting for. Clark, nice feed. Wallace with the layup. And Caitlin Clark catalyzing a comeback here. Bonner gets denied by Boston. Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Look at Wheeler staring to the right side, knows who's there, drop pass behind. Could be the deepest shot we've seen Caitlin Clark make as a pro. Big one.
And is building.
Every league eventually adjusts around its most influential figures. Marketing shifts, broadcast priorities realign, and structural decisions bend toward the gravitational pull of attention. At first, this process isn't personal or even deliberate. It's structural. The WNBA will adapt, just as every league has before. Legacies rarely announce themselves in real time. They're recognized in hindsight. Years from now, this moment will be seen as a turning point. Not because of a single game or contract, but because one player expanded what everyone believed was possible. That's how lasting impact takes shape. Rapid change often brings tension before clarity, and when a system evolves faster than expected, discomfort follows. That unease isn't failure, it's transition, and transitions are always messy before they stabilize. The next phase of Caitlin Clark's career isn't about proving her talent. That part is already settled. It's about scale, reach, and longevity, about what happens when one player becomes a reference point for an entire sport. Caitlin Clark isn't trying to be bigger than the WNBA. She's simply outgrowing a frame that was built to contain her. And when that happens, institutions don't disappear, they evolve. This story is still unfolding. So the real question is this: will Caitlin Clark's influence reshape the WNBA, or will it carry her beyond it?